Hello, everyone. You're listening to Game Rivals, a podcast where a Nintendo fan and a PlayStation fan talk about the latest games and happenings in the gaming community and industry. I'm one of your hosts, Maximilian X, and together with SeanTemplar, we bring you this bi weekly podcast about video games. Hey guys, and welcome to a very special bonus round of the Game Rivals. I am one of your hosts, Maximilian X, and here with me today for this special episode is the one, the only, the Emperor.
SeanTemplar. Why are you calling me the Emperor? That sounds so weird.
Because you built for China, you overcame, you won.
I have made China grow larger. And then my PC broke, and now China is left without an emperor. Huge anticlimax.
Very huge. If you guys haven't listened to the last regular episode, I suggest you do because he goes into detail as to why that happened.
Oh, it only
It's
gets
it's
worse.
it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this very special episode that we're recording for you guys right now, in the middle of a regular, in between our regular recordings, is of course because this week is Gamescom, Europe's biggest game show of the year. There have been some announcements, and we're going to talk about some of the announcements that happened during Gamescom, before Gamescom, not after, because Gamescom is still going live. So we might miss some new news here and there, but most of the stuff was already announced before that, so we should be good. Can you tee us up with your first point that you want to talk about, Sean?
I have so many, but I'll start with the one that I got most excited about, and that's that Insomniac Games, the creators or the makers behind Resistance, Fall of Man, and the Resistance franchise, Ratchet and Clank, Spyro the Dragon, and a little game called Spider Man, which sold 13.2 million copies on PS4,
Impressive.
was bought by Sony. Finally.
Yeah.
So they're now
uh,
finally part of Worldwide Studios. Woo!
yeah. Congratulations to Insomniac,
Yeah, indeed.
and congratulations to Sony.
That was
They just robbed the gaming world of one of the greatest game developers out there. It's kind of sad.
you make it sound like they bought the guys and then they shut down the company.
No, I mean, come on. It's not unlike, say, Microsoft, who bought companies but still allow them to publish on other platforms. Sony's not going to do that.
Oh, just because Microsoft bought Obsidian and is going to let them publish the other worlds on other platforms, it's okay. Because I read an article yesterday saying that Microsoft has stated that they don't have any plans to publish any of their games on other platforms in the foreseeable future besides the other worlds or the outer worlds. And I think this is more of a the game was already in development and kind of dick move to say, oh no, we're going to just do make a Microsoft exclusive out of it.
Really? Because then they could have killed the deal for the Switch, and yet that one is still coming.
Is it coming to Switch, the Outer Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, after it launches on the other consoles, but it's coming to the Switch, I think, either ending this year or early 2020.
What? I must have
Yeah, you
completely
didn't
missed
get that
that.
one? That,
No.
that was that got announced, I think, like a month ago or something.
You know, every Switch related stuff, as soon as I hear the word Switch, I just zone out. Like, boo! You know, just that happens. But
Uh-huh.
anyways, Sony, Sean Layden, you know, one of the big guys at Sony, has said that he's happy to welcome Insomniac to Worldwide Studios. As we've
Mhm.
known from Worldwide Studios, is they give a lot of freedom, so they are working on whatever they want. Kinda, I think they're working on Spider-Man 2 right now. Cause come on, who doesn't want Spider-Man 2? If that's still going to happen because of Sony Pictures' fallout with Marvel, which we read about today.
I don't see why not.
You know, I can't imagine because now what happens is Sony pulled Spider-Man out of the MCU, kind of, and maybe Marvel might say, "Oh well, because we have a bad understanding with Sony Pictures, we don't want them to make a game around Spider-Man, so we're going to pull the game
Oh
license."
no.
That's
Oh
also
no.
like a counter they can play.
Oh no, you just reminded me that they actually did that before with the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Ugh.
So
Yeah.
let's hope Spider-Man 2 is still happening for the PlayStation.
Huh.
But anyways, it's cool to have Insomniac finally with us. And I was talking to a friend of mine about this, but I think Sony picked them up at the right moment because if Sony hadn't done it, I think Microsoft would have swept in and bought them, and then they would now be a Microsoft owned studio. Because I
Yeah,
think
and they'd be
that was going to
working on
happen.
Sunset Overdrive too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that was going to happen. Yeah, yeah. But that
Did you
was
ever get a chance to play that game?
no, but I do have an Xbox, so I can maybe pick it up. Probably cost anything right now.
Isn't it on
Game Pass?
Game Pass?
I don't know. Maybe I should check that out.
Hmm.
Huh.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, good news for them.
Hmm.
I'm curious what they'll be working on now because if that's the case, because they, when they were still independent, they were also doing other stuff like work for hire and smaller,
They even did VR stuff.
projects.
Yeah.
They did VR stuff, so who knows? I mean, they could do VR stuff for PS4 or the next PlayStation as well, if they wanted to. I mean,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit for them now.
Yeah. Talking about the new PlayStation, I read a rumor the other day stating that the new PlayStation is going to run on three different clock speeds from the processor. So it can compensate for the backwards compatibility. So it can run like at the speed that the PlayStation 4 is running. It can run at the speed the PS4 Pro is running. And it can run at the speed the normal PlayStation is running. That's kind of weird rumor I
Well,
read. I'm like, okay,
that
that
is
doesn't make sense, but
that only makes sense if you put three processors in there that do exactly that.
yeah. So, but the other part that was kind of connected to this rumor was that apparently Sony might do a full PlayStation 5 unveiling in February next year, and then
Sounds
it'll
right.
be on the 12th or the 20th of February. That's kind of what
Well,
they
that
did.
sounds way too specific.
Yeah, I think they might do a February event because they kind of did that with the PS4 unveiling back at the time. It's the right moment to do it.
I mean, if they reveal it Q4 of their fiscal year, that makes sense
Yeah, or
because then
maybe
you're
we'll get
then you're because then you're prepping for the coming fiscal year, right?
yeah, or we might get PlayStation Experience this year and they just dropped the bomb there.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
They have said that just because they bowed out of E3 doesn't mean that there aren't other shows that they're considering. I mean, people didn't expect them to attend Gamescom and they're attending Gamescom.
Yeah, but that's mostly because of Death Stranding.
Yeah, nice that you should mention that because that was the other game that was on my list. They released a bunch of strange trailers for that game, and I'm still not convinced I should buy the
Ah,
game.
so did you only watch the trailers, or did you watch the actual presentation from Gamescom opening night live?
Gonna scrub through it.
Okay, so it would have probably been best to watch the presentation along with the. I mean, I know that they released the trailers as is on YouTube, but if you actually watched it while Kojima was explaining it, it makes somewhat more sense than just watching them on their own.
Okay.
Because they
Explain me
talk about
this. How am I
yeah.
supposed to understand a clip of the main character standing up and peeing? Does he explain why the character
Oh
can do that?
well,
I
he
mean,
actually
let me just
no,
grab.
he actually does. He actually does. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not into full detail, but the hints are that um, they do have a game mechanic function to it.
Okay.
I don't know why. And one of the things, if you notice, if you watch that trailer, is that after he's done relieving himself, a mushroom suddenly appears.
Yeah, I saw
Which,
that.
yeah, which is part of the gameplay. So I'm assuming that he can harvest that mushroom, even though he didn't do that.
That
Either
sounds really
or.
nice. Taking a leak and then growing a mushroom and then eating that mushroom. Super cool game mechanic.
It's Kojima, man. What do you expect, man?
Did you see that Jeff Keighley's model's been put in the game? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of
Yeah.
cool. But honestly, man, those two have been such big BFFs for so long. I would be surprised if he didn't end up in the game. What I am surprised though that he's being voiced by someone else.
Yeah,
Um, dang it, what's his name again? Very known voice actor, um, Mercer.
I don't know.
Ah, dang it, I forgot his name. Um, yeah, but yeah, Jeff Keighley's not voicing his own character. His character's like his model is just a cameo in the game, and apparently there are a lot more cameos like that. So I'm kind of curious to see who else he roped into. It would be nice, like for example, if he got one of the execs from PlayStation to be in there. Like Sean Layden or
Yuhei
Andrew
Yoshida or something.
or Shuhei Yoshida would actually make a lot more sense. Yeah. um. Yeah, that would actually be really hilarious if
We
they
love
did that.
Shuhei Yoshida. He's so funny. I
Yeah,
love the
he's
guy's energy.
adorable.
He's just so enthusiastic.
Yeah, man, he's chill, man.
And you know
He
what?
like
That guy is an awesome gamer. I believe he has a platinum for either Dark Souls or Demon Souls. Or was it? No. It was for what's the game called? The other game they did only on PlayStation. Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
a platinum for Bloodborne.
That's too
That's so
much
awesome.
practice. Man.
That's so awesome.
That is awesome, but
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, Death Stranding finally got more gameplay
And
footage
they're
out
gonna
there.
show a gameplay trailer or gameplay stuff at Tokyo Game Show. Kojima said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He kind of teased the audience that we're just gonna show stuff at Gamescom, well, or at TGS. But here's a little bit of a sneak peek for you guys at Gamescom. But here's the thing, though: the dude flew out to Germany, and the thing that they kept repeating during that presentation was that the game is almost done. They're weeks away from completing the game.
Where?
The game comes out in November.
Yes.
So if the game is gonna be done in like a couple of weeks, then the only thing that I can imagine is that at least for the next 2 months, they're gonna do polish.
Yeah.
Okay, polish and bug testing.
They'll probably go
So,
gold in mid October,
well, they have to
early October. Yeah.
if they want to print a lot of discs.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the first time that I'm actually not pre-ordering a Kojima game because I have said this before. Either it's a cult classic or it's going to be one of those games that surprises everybody and blows everybody away and is so amazing that it gets tens again. But
mm,
now it looks like this weird cult classic game, and I don't want to take a risk on it.
I'm not gonna pick it up at launch either. I'm just gonna look and see what the reaction is online for that, honestly,
Same here.
because here's the thing that I will say about this game after seeing proper gameplay footage that wasn't like chopped up. It is pretty.
It's beautiful, but that's
It
the
is
Decima
just
engine, you
like
know.
the outside area. Just, I know you're gonna say like what, but to me, it reminded me a lot of the first time I plopped in Breath of the Wild and I stepped outside and saw all that wilderness out there, and I'm like, holy shit, how is this running on this system?
I know how that feels because I had the same effect when I played Breath of the Wild.
And that's the same effect. That's the same feeling I got when he was outside. Yeah, I know he was doing his business outside too, but he was also walking around, and I'm just like, wow,
And he just grabs a
this
ladder from
this
his
looks like a
backpack.
place that exists.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it kind of reminds me like a Scandinavian country or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Same here. I was like, so this thing is running on a modified version of the
Decima engine, the Horizon Zero Dawn engine.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the guys at Guerrilla Games were, what they've like. If you're thinking like they've been sitting still after Frozen Wilds came out, the answer is no.
no.
They have been hard at work with their engine, and this game shows it.
But imagine this: if this looks amazing on a PS4, imagine how Horizon
Well,
Zero
I'm
Dawn.
assuming that the footage shown was a PS4 Pro
Yeah, but okay,
because I
let's
don't
put it
think
that
that they
way.
said that.
Imagine that this is what a PS4 Pro looks like. And then imagine what Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on a PlayStation 5 might look like. If like this is
Oh
already
yeah,
beautiful,
that's gonna be
yeah,
freaking gorgeous.
imagine how that's gonna be. It's gonna blow everybody away. And if we're
Yeah.
lucky, it's gonna be a launch title.
It could
It
be
could
because
be
when did Frozen Wilds come out?
2 years ago.
Yeah, so they could have been working on that for quite some time
Yeah,
now.
because they haven't
Yeah,
done anything else besides Frozen Wilds,
yeah,
at
and
least
supporting
publicly. Yeah,
and supporting Death Stranding, of course.
yeah.
So, but you don't need a full team for that. I mean,
No,
you
it's
just
probably a
need
small skeleton
you,
crew.
you, you just need the engineers from of the game engine to essentially help them out.
And those developments translate back into Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or Killzone
Yeah,
or whatever they're working on. But I think Zero Dawn 2 is the most
you
obvious
think
choice.
Killzone is still a thing?
I think they haven't forgotten about that. It's just that I think they need to
I think
innovate.
but I think they're kind of done with it though.
I think they need to kind of innovate with. They need to take all the experience they have and the things they learned from Horizon Zero Dawn. Maybe they need to paint a whole new picture for Killzone, such as leave the first-person shooter uh, vibe and make a third-person shooter out of it, or make a tactical third-person shooter out of it, or anything. I mean, remember when the PSP came out? I believe there was a game called Killzone Liberation. It was an
Yes.
isometric, kind of like the Metal Gear Solid camera's point of view, third-person shooter. I love that
Yeah, I
game.
totally forgot about that.
That game was so awesome. It looked
Yeah,
amazing and it played really well.
yeah,
It even had
yeah.
multiplayer.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know how many people actually played it. I do know that they worked on it themselves, so that's
yeah,
actually neat. So,
yeah.
yeah. All right. So other than that, there were also a couple of things that I thought it was interesting from my point of view. Of course, being the Nintendo guy here, there wasn't a lot of Nintendo specific news there, but
Hmm.
Nintendo, or at least there were two games that were announced during their indie world presentation on Monday, where they shadow dropped two games. One of them is the Hotline Miami collection, and the other one is Super Hot, which is this puzzle, this first person puzzle game that looks like a first person shooter. And the first time you play it or even look at it, you think like, oh, this is just a first person shooter. And when you start to play it, kind of feels like a first person shooter. But the whole gimmick of Super Hot, of course, is that the world doesn't move until you do, or at least it doesn't move at a regular speed until you move. So you have to tactically aim and fire your weapon and make sure that you hit the enemies, and you are basically made of glass. One hit and you're dead. So you have to make sure that you do it right. But even if you die in quotes, you can just restart from the beginning again and then try a different strategy. So it's nice to see that game being on Switch. It's kind of a shame that it doesn't have VR support
Yeah,
because
because there was
I actually would have
initially a
been.
VR title, right?
No, 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 no. It was initially a PC title,
Oh, I thought it
and
was
then
only a
got later.
VR game on PC.
No, no. It started out as a regular game,
Yeah.
and then it got ported to other systems. I think it launched on Xbox and PlayStation 4 at the same time. I think, and then later it got a VR version when I think on Oculus. Yeah, on Oculus. So on Oculus Rift, it got a VR version. And I don't know if there's a VR version on PlayStation, but I know that they also re-released it on the Oculus Quest. And considering that you have the Nintendo Labo VR, I thought they might dabble into that, but it doesn't look like they did, which is unfortunate. But I do understand why, because that game requires head tracking like nobody's business.
Okay.
And at least from the reportings that I've heard about the VR version of Super Hot, they people feel like Super Hot was made to be played in VR.
Hmm.
I haven't had the chance to play it in VR, and I would love to try to play it in VR because people like heaping praise on that version. But yeah, it being on Switch is actually kind of cool because you can take that stuff on the go, and it plays just as well as any other platform. Yeah. Other than that, we got a solid release date for The Witcher 3 on Switch, which is, I believe, was September 3rd. So it's right around the corner. And yeah, a lot of outlets being very positive on the fact that it's running on Switch. I've got to be honest. I am amazed that it's running on Switch at all. I don't know what kind of magic. What is it called again?
The Project
I
Red.
for, no, not CD Project Red, but the studio behind the port. Um, I forgot. Starts with an S. I'll have to look it up later. Um, but I don't know what kind of programming magic they've been doing, but it is amazing.
Did you mention that Ori and the Blind Forest is coming to Switch?
That is the last thing that they actually announced. Thanks for reminding me, by the way. Yeah. So another Xbox exclusive coming to Switch this September 27th, Ori and the Blind Forest. So if you were still on the fence and you have it and you have a Switch and you wanted to play it on that, it's gonna run at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So you're getting the full version, and it's even called the Definitive Edition.
Oh,
So
I love it when they call it that.
I mean, that's what they did with Dragon Quest 11. It's the definitive edition on Switch. If you want to get the full experience, you got to get it on Switch. Which, FYI, they dropped the demo for that one today. So I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. The cool thing about it, it's I think, the first couple of hours of Dragon Quest 11. So the save file actually transfers over to the full
A
version.
couple of hours?
Yeah, I think it's like the first chapter or so.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, that's why it's so cool that the save file transfers over. So
Yeah,
when you buy the full game, you don't have to start over. You can just pick up where you left off.
that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, other than that, there's not a lot on the Nintendo side. They announced a whole bunch of indie stuff in the Indie World Showcase. I recommend you watch that if you want to learn more about those games. A few other highlights of that one. Let me see if I can pick it up. There was one game called, I think it was called Epic something. Oh, that looked so weird, by the way, because it's this auto runner, and you think like, oh, it's an auto runner, so it's looks boring, but it's an auto runner in a post-apocalyptic world where dragons have taken over the world. So you're running on the backs of
That's
dragons,
cool.
and it looks really cool. It's this beautiful 2D artwork, and they I don't know what kind of techniques they use, but they make it look so good and almost rotoscopy. It's crazy. I think it's coming to other platforms as well, but they announced it for Switch, so that's why I'm mentioning it. And if I can find the title, dang name, I can even tell you the name because I think it's at least worth knowing what the name is of that game. Where is dang it, I can't seem to find it right now. If I can, I'll mention it again later in the podcast. But suffice to say, yeah, there are some really hot and really cool indie games coming to Switch. So yeah, look forward to that.
Okay, okay. I didn't really follow the Microsoft things. I saw something around Gears of War 5, and a lot of people are excited about that. They dropped a new Horde mode trailer.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know.
That one was actually kind of funny because they had the inside Xbox thing,
Hmm.
and then literally the first game that they announced at the opening night live was Gears of War. It's like 2 hours ago you already talked about it and you're talking about it again. I mean, to be fair, they did say at Inside Xbox that they were going to talk about it again at the opening night. So they were at least honest enough to say that they were going to do that. But then why do it there as well, man?
I don't know, man. Maybe
Mm.
because I don't know.
I mean, they talked more about the single player stuff at the opening night live, and looks interesting
Mhm.
enough. But yeah, I don't know.
They also did something around Minecraft getting ray tracing. You see
Is that
that?
still happening?
Yeah.
Because I
It's
because the
It's all over the place on Nvidia's page, on Microsoft's page.
Oh yeah,
Nvidia's going all in on ray tracing. Uh, so yeah, that's
yeah, because it's okay. I guess that's the only solace that Minecraft fans are getting, because they recently scrapped a big graphics update that they were working on.
yeah. I thought that was still
Um,
gonna happen, but I read the other day that they killed it.
yeah, they killed it. So this coming at least to Minecraft, with the ray tracing, is, I guess, like a little bit of a gimme.
It looks really nice. I saw a demo around it.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
looking at
never
the
played
screenshots
Minecraft,
alone,
but
it looks interesting.
yeah,
You haven't?
nope, doesn't look like
Oh,
my kind of game.
ah, alright.
But I am looking forward to that Minecraft Diablo kind of game that's coming out next year.
Minecraft Dungeons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
That looks like fun.
yeah. I mean, it's the dungeon crawler. Of course, it's fun.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has co-op.
I mean, I don't know how many ways you could screw that up, but yeah.
Well, nobody thought Blizzard could screw things up, and when they announced a mobile Diablo, they kind of dropped the ball
Have they
there.
even talked about that ever since?
No, I think they tried. They're trying to wipe every trace of it on the face of this planet because they don't want to be reminded about the big boo boo they made. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is BlizzCon, is that still happening this year?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, then they'll hopefully not talk about it there.
I think they were gonna talk about other stuff,
I
so
hope so.
I don't think we have
Better.
to worry about that.
Did you see that Yakuza is getting a remastered collection? So Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 is coming to PlayStation.
No, you mentioned that before we started recording, and
Yeah.
I couldn't be more happier,
Yeah.
because I'm a big fan of the franchise, and it's been kind of a struggle to be able to actually play all the games in one place. And now you can.
Yeah. And that strategy around it is pretty cool because it's 3, 4, and 5, and 3 came out this week, and 4
Hmm.
is coming out in October, I believe. And then
Hmm.
5 is coming out early next year. And you know what you're getting with the game. So it's not like you're paying for the game and hoping it's going to be a good game. These are games that are out already on PS2 or PS3, and they have excellent reviews there. So if you're like
Yeah,
me, you never got a chance to play it, it's the perfect chance to buy it. Because I bought Yakuza Kiwami, loved it. Still need to buy Kiwami 2 and play that. And then after that, I'll probably buy this and play this, because it's a really fun game.
yeah. I mean, I have Kuami on PlayStation Plus, so yeah, that I'm still going through that one. It's just it's such a good freaking game, man. Such a fun franchise.
Yeah,
It's basically what I always see it as the natural evolution of Shenmue,
yeah.
and now with also Shenmue 3 coming out,
I
people
honestly don't
are
know what's going to happen with
kind of
that
look
game
hot on it.
because a lot of people are not excited for that.
No, well, that, and of course the whole Epic Game Store bait and switch.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt. Actually, I almost forgot this one. There is one more thing Nintendo related that I do want to talk about before we move on. So Sega has had the license for the Olympics for quite some time right now, and of course, with the 2020 Olympics, they're bringing out a new Sonic and a Mario and a Sonic at the Olympic Games, of course,
I didn't know that.
alongside the regular, licensed traditional Olympic Games game, which is out in Japan, but won't come out in the rest of the world until next year for whatever reason.
Oh, that makes so
Just
much sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense because I downloaded the demo from the Japanese eShop and the game is fully in English. At
Okay.
least the demo is fully in English. So I have to assume that the Japanese version is fully in English as well. Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, the Mario and Sonic version, however, is getting a new feature, which is having not all of them, but I think a bunch of competitions in 2D, and you have to see the trailer. I know you're not like big on Nintendo and stuff like that, but Honestly, you have to see the trailer because it is redonkulous. It is so hilarious. It You have Mario, 8-bit Mario,
Yeah.
running alongside 16-bit Sega Mega Drive version of Sonic
Okay.
and 8-bit version of Princess Peach getting body slammed by an 8-bit version of Bowser in
Wow.
karate.
Okay, you have to send me
It is
that.
hilarious. Like, I'll send you the trailer later. Check it out. It's not that long. It is hilarious, and honestly, I have never ever bought the Olympic games, the Sonic and Mario ones at least. But this almost makes me want to buy it just because this mode looks just ridiculous. I mean, you see the chubby version of Eggman from the Mega Drive days and running alongside Sonic and Mario, and that just looks weird. Like the 3D versions already, because they have the same style, so it doesn't look like it was patched together on new grounds. This feels like that, and
Okay.
that is same hilarious way, and it's just and it still has the serious edge to it because it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it's so hilarious to see it, man. You had, yeah, I had like I have to send you that trailer, man. It's so funny.
I want to see that. You know what's also hilarious in a
What?
bad way? Marvel Avengers gameplay trailer.
Oh, you sure you want to talk about that now?
I think we are obligated to tell our listeners that in this current state, that game is not worth putting your money into.
In this current state, it is the only state that it's ever gonna be in. So.
Because let me just put it this way. That's how I see it. If you're doing a superhero game, you need to do something with that game. And that's general with a lot of games. If you're doing a game, you kind of need to either match or surpass other similar games in that genre, or if there's a game that has similarities to what you're doing, you need to either match it or surpass it. And so if you're doing a superhero game, you have the excellent Batman Arkham series, you have the
Mm-hmm.
excellent Spider-Man friend a game, have
Mm-hmm.
the great, excellent Marvel Ultimate Alliance game on Switch, which I haven't played, but the reviews are amazing. So that means that the bar is already being raised. And if you show up with this game, which looks like the characters are still too Japanese inspired, even though it's made by a Western studio, but it feels like, oh, we shall do the character design in Japan, and then we will make the Americans make the game. It feels like that. And that's not racially meant anyways, but like it really feels like that. It really feels like some dude in Japan drew the characters, faxed his or emailed his sketch to the Western guys and said, "This is how you have to make the game." And they're like, "Yeah, we have to, because if we don't, they'll pull the plug on the game. So we have to. You pay the bill, you know." And then, I mean, Tony Stark, I suspect he's being voiced by Nolan North, but he feels like this
I think he
annoying, yeah,
is.
he feels like this annoying Nathan Drake on steroids type. He doesn't shut up. He's just making these stupid ass jokes. Thor is trying to be a British Australian guy, which sounds really strange.
Well, that's oh no, that's not Thingy. Thor is not being played by Thor. Thingy's playing. What's his name again?
I don't know who is playing him, but it looks bad. The gameplay is too linear. It looks like an arena game. You enter an arena, you have to kick characters' asses, and then there's some difficult bosses or difficult characters. Then you have to kick their asses. Then you switch to another character, and you have to do the same thing all over again. It's uninspired. It doesn't look interesting, and I wouldn't spend my dime on it.
Well, a friend of mine said it best in that it has the visual fidelity of a 2019 game, but
Yeah,
it has the gameplay mechanics from 2008,
yeah,
which I totally agree
yeah.
with
And
because
it's such a missed
it feels if
opportunity.
because it feels like something that was either made around the time of Arkham Asylum or before Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Like it's just this corridor where you're just fighting and you continue, and then you have a quick time event, and then you have a cutscene, and then it moves on.
But it also looks too linear. I'm not saying that it needs to be this open world New York in which you swing from the buildings, but give me some freedom. But based on this, and this is the tutorial level, they said,
Yeah.
it's so predefined, it's so linear. And I might understand that this is maybe the first level and we haven't seen anything, but even
But
now, you
then
have to wow me to get me to buy the game. You're not wowing me, you're pushing me away.
but isn't this but didn't they say that there was gonna be like an open world when after the tutorial, like after the was it a 5 year jump or a 10 year jump? I can't
I honestly don't know. And maybe you're confusing it with End War, Endgame.
remember.
Yeah, I don't know,
Maybe
but
I
like
am. I
this
don't.
isn't
Oh,
inviting me
that is also another thing. Why did they chose this specific style? Why did they chose this realistic style
instead of.
instead of, I don't know, making it look more comic booky? Like look at Spider Man. It doesn't look like it has a realistic stint to it, but it's not overly realistic. You know, Batman also the same thing. Has a realistic stint to it, but doesn't look overly realistic. When I see them fighting, the only thing that's going through my mind is the dang Avengers theme from the MCU.
And then you're kind of hoping that you hear an MCU voice actor and you hear a really
Exactly.
annoying Tony Stark or a wannabe Thor or even the Hulk, even Bruce Banner looks like a Japanese inspired Westerner. It's like they went out on the street and said to people, "How do you in Japan? How do you think a Westerner looks like?" And people gave a description and they're like, "Yeah, that's probably how people in America look or in the West look. Let's make character designs based on these guys."
Well,
Proper
to be
market research. Way to
but
go.
honest, no, but honestly, to be fair though, has has character design evolved in Western gaming for the past 10 years? Like if you look at like all the generic main characters that are out there, they all have the same thing in common. They're all either dark haired or brunettes, either have a beard or they don't have a beard, and they're voiced by Nolan North. Or
Troy
damn it, who's the
Baker.
other guy? Troy Baker. Thank you. Troy Baker is Bruce Banner.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. But let me
yeah.
put it this way. I didn't get annoyed by the way the character looked in a Uncharted or in an Arkham game or in an Assassin's Creed game because if you haven't noticed, but Troy Baker and Nolan North have voiced characters in these franchises that I just
Well, of
mentioned.
course they have.
But it's not that I was annoyed by the way the characters look. I was actually impressed by the way the characters look. But when I'm looking at this game, I just want to crawl in a corner and just cry because this game has been in development for a couple of years.
How long has this game been in
It's been a
development?
couple of years
Actually,
because I remember that they got the license, what, 2 or 3 years ago. They made an announcement that an Avengers game was in development at Square Enix, and this
I
is the
thought it was
first
in
time that they.
development for 5 years.
What?
Where do I keep coming back on 5 years?
You're probably
Oh
confusing it with Endgame.
no, no, I know why. It's because I've been playing Fire Emblem again.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, that game is tough.
Yeah, but that's a
Moving
talk
on.
for next week. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's and it's kind of a bummer because I think people will have the same response because Endgame came out this year. It's a huge moment in the MCU. Spider-Man came out.
yeah,
People are kind of riding that exciting hype train. They're like,
hi,
"Oh
yeah.
yeah, I want to play like these characters." And then you get the Avengers game, and people just never want to do anything with the MCU again because they're
Mm,
just gonna cry in a corner.
yeah,
It's
true.
depressing.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and the
Just
funny thing is, I read an article the other day that they had improved the character design. And when I looked at the trailer, I thought, well, there's nothing
no,
improved
no, no, no,
here.
no. But it's the thing is, this version is the one that we saw at E3.
Yeah.
It's just they kept it under wraps for whatever reason. They kept
Also,
it under
the
wraps.
latest build we haven't seen has better characters.
Yeah,
Oh, I hope so.
yeah, because this is just the E3 build.
Okay, okay. Let's hope. Well, there's still a chance for redemption there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe if we play it, it actually feels good to play. I don't know, man.
we'll
It
have to
just
wait it.
looks weird.
I saw that Final Fantasy VIII Remaster is finally getting a release date, and that's September 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna cost $20, and you can pre-order it right now.
Mm. You know, the game looks great. The HD remaster actually looks nice and clean, but I don't like the gameplay mechanic in Final Fantasy VIII. I have to admit,
Yeah.
like to me, like to of all the three, it's the weakest of the three in terms of gameplay to me.
Okay.
It's not a bad system by any stretch of the imagination. It's just if well, let me put it this way: if you're playing it for the first time, and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get you're gonna get your ass whooped real quick. And if you do know what you're doing, one or two things are gonna happen. You're gonna grind like there's no tomorrow, or you're gonna get bored before you even reach the first real big milestone in the game.
Okay. Well, that's a bummer.
So yeah, and like I said, it's the weaker of the three PlayStation ones. Heck, I would even rank Final Fantasy VII above that one. Um, and of course, Final Fantasy IX is to me the best version that they ever did. But I'm an old guy.
I never played that one.
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, not worth the price that they're asking on Switch, but it's worth it.
Uh,
I
uh,
think they're offering. I think yeah, actually, it's the same price on all the other systems except for maybe on PC because of Steam.
I don't know. I
But
saw the
yeah,
article. I was surprised.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, this also marks the fact that now all the PlayStation era Final Fantasy games are on a Nintendo system.
Yay!
Honestly, I never thought I'd see the day. So
I think Square
kudos to
Enix,
kudos to Square Enix for that
but
one.
I think they've turned into a company that want to make more money because if you think about it, they don't have a huge memorable game lineup anymore, or they don't do anything really big anymore. They're
They
leaning a
don't do
lot
a
of
lot of new stuff.
no,
Yeah,
that's too bad. I mean, they can make a Sleeping Dogs 2. Maybe they should focus
if they
on
wanted
that.
to.
Yeah, I mean that would be an amazing game. Please, Square Enix,
Yeah.
do that.
But honestly, I see happening more is that they're probably gonna release a remastered version for the next gen.
Of Sleeping Dogs. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I bought. You
Here-
remember what I said? I bought it on
And
PS3, on PS4, and on PC. And if it comes to PS5, I'll buy that game too. I love that game, man.
well, here's the thing. It's not like okay, we're being a bit too harsh. It's not like they don't make new games. They do. They're either just smaller
Or
projects
they tank
or
like the game they brought out this year, the Russian communist inspired game. I don't know what the game was called. It came out early this year with the mechs in it. The big robots. It looked like some communist game.
do you remember the name? Because what you're describing to me is
At
old
least I got
stuff.
a like really, really Russia Cold War vibe from it.
Oh, I do not remember that. I do remember that last year they brought out the Quiet Man, and oof, that tank.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, at least they have subsidiaries that are doing interesting stuff, like the Tokyo RPG Factory. I mean, their games have been kind of hits that have been hits and miss, or some would say mediocre at best. Um, but at least their new game Oninaki, I played the demo and it actually feels solid. So Oninaki is at least a step in the right direction because I played I Am Setsuna and I got bored of that game, even though most people gave it a lot of praise and said that it felt like what's it called again, Chrono Trigger. I don't honestly, I didn't feel like it felt like. I mean, I get where they mean with that. It felt like Chrono Trigger, but it didn't feel enough like Chrono Trigger for me to be like, okay, this feels like a legit spiritual successor to it. And I played the demo for Lost Sphere, and that was even more mediocre in my opinion. It had some cool mechanics, but yeah, that didn't really work
Left
for me.
Alive.
Left. Oh my goodness, I totally blocked that game out.
Well, it's good that you did.
Yeah,
But that's, for example, a
like
game they brought out, and I see that it has reviews
no,
on Steam. It has a 3
but
out of 10.
but you know why I blocked it out? It's because they didn't promote the game.
Yeah.
Like the at the very last minute, I think I think 3 weeks before the game launched, suddenly they had this media blitz. Left Alive, Left Alive. They were releasing stuff on their channel like every other day. Left Alive, Left Alive. I was like, what is this game? Square Enix. Wait, when did they announce this? I didn't even remember that. I didn't even know that it was theirs. I didn't even know that they announced it. And suddenly this thing was gonna be out in like a couple of weeks. That is not a good sign, people. When you have to scramble to remind people that your game is coming out, that is not a good sign.
No, and the
So,
game itself was bad.
ugh. I mean, I'd have to. I can't say that I agree, but I don't know, man. This stuff is just weird.
Game makes you stutter. That says enough.
Yeah, well, I totally forgot
I.
about it, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's just because I forgot that game even
that's okay.
existed. Ah, good grief, that is so bad.
I know a game you haven't forgotten about.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Kerbal Space Program 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what we're talking about here.
Look at it,
I
that
have
sounds good.
spent a lot of hours in Kerbal Space Program here, um, building these crazy rockets. Oh man, the other thing I will say that is this: um, when this game comes out, I will be live streaming this because I want to build crazy rockets and get input from people to build rockets, and get suggestions to build rockets, and I will build them live on a stream or in video content. I don't care because this is the kind of game that I like to play, just messing around for like a couple of hours, like 5 hours, just making rockets and seeing how far I get. Oh man, back in the day, playing Kerbal Space Program, I actually was able to reach the moon. It was so good. I was able to reach the moon, but I didn't know how to get back. So my Kerbal got stopped up there. It's so sad.
He's still
Every
probably
time I
there.
boot, yeah, it's still there. Every time I boot up the game and then I go and check this the space state the not the space station but the control center. You can track where all your
Yeah.
uh astronauts are, and I just see him just on the moon. I'm like,
Hasn't his
oh,
oxygen run out by now?
they have infinite oxygen.
Oh,
Yeah, unfortunately, the oxygen that allows me to use the propeller tanks ran out, so he can't get off the moon again. And there's also one, and I can't seem to find it again, but I do see that there's one spacecraft that is left in orbit around the planet. It's just so sad that one space,
so
that one
close yet
Kerbal
so
is just
far.
circling around the planet for forever.
Nice.
Oh man, I love that game, man. It is a challenge to make a good rocket in there because it is actual rocket science. But yeah. But if there is any other game that I would upgrade my rig for, it would be that.
I haven't played the game, but I have, besides you, heard another friend of ours be super enthusiastic and saying I've put so many hours in it. So I am convinced that I want to play the game. It's just that, yeah, haven't had the time to buy it and to play it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should definitely try it out, man. It's good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's also on consoles. It's actually on sale right now on PlayStation for $10. So if you want to try it out on consoles, you can do that. I'd personally say just play it on PC because that's the best way to play it.
yeah. I heard that the controls are also
Um,
really nice on PC compared to PlayStation.
Oh yeah. I mean, it can be a little bit weird. I will admit that there are some kind of weird quirks with trying to connect some stuff sometimes, especially like the littler stuff, even with a mouse and keyboard. But for the most part, it works perfectly fine.
Yeah, I saw that Kerbal Space Program 2 in this case, not to confuse one, which we were talking about, but 2 is coming out early
Mm,
2020.
yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Ah, it's gonna be fun to build rockets again.
I've seen videos of mods and things like that because for example, I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, and the
Mm,
first thing when I heard about this game and mods, I'm like, oh, let me check, and I looked online and there was an actual Battlestar Galactica ship. I'm like, oh, this is so cool! And then there was this guy who was trying to dock one of the fighters. They were called Vipers. Trying to dock one of
yeah.
those Vipers. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool! I want to play this, and I never got to play it because I don't have time, but it really
Yeah,
got me excited when I saw that.
yeah. I will say this. I think with Kerbal Space Program through two, I am gonna try and actually build a working space station,
That'd be cool.
because that is something that you can build in the first game, but looking at tutorials and stuff, it's so daunting. I was like,
Is there
also
multiplayer
it
in the
takes a.
game? Or co-op or something?
I mean, not really in the traditional sense, because you're doing only one of two things. You're building,
Yeah.
and then you're piloting the spacecraft.
Okay.
So, or you can launch satellites,
Okay.
which is also a very difficult thing, because unlike um unlike a manned ship, an unmanned ship you have to direct from the ground,
Hmm.
and you have to make sure that you have enough battery life. And you also have to make sure that you put on the solar panels so that the batteries can get recharged, so that you can still control the dang thing once it's in space.
Wow, that's pretty in depth.
Yeah, it is very in depth.
That's
I
nice.
mean, the team is partially made up of former astronauts, so
Ooh.
or not. I think, yeah, former astronauts and rocket scientists.
Yeah, that's
So yeah,
nice.
so the science is legit for the most part.
I still have a few things on my list. Do you have anything?
I think I ran through my list, but I'll just go through a few more things, and you can just talk about the next thing on your list.
We got to see some gameplay around the Predator game that was announced in State of Play. It,
Hmm.
I don't know. I wasn't really excited by it. It looked pretty generic. When you play as the soldiers, you look like it's an FPS or first person shooter. And when you play as a Predator, it's a third person shooter. And the gameplay demo revolved around a special forces unit or a SEAL team or whatever, dropping in with a Black Hawk
Yeah.
helicopter, moving into an area, killing soldiers or guerrilla fighters, and then all of a sudden, a player controlling the Predator started to zap enemies with his space weapon, and then
Hmm.
the soldiers got all taken out, and that was kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm Yeah, you know what the problem is with the games, and I think I've said it before. It feels like those um, Dead by Daylight games, wherein there's this Freddy Krueger or this Jason from Friday the 13th
Yeah,
character,
yeah,
and people have to
yeah.
run
It's
away, and it never.
wasn't there another game that did that asymmetrical gameplay
It's either Friday the
a couple of years
13th and
ago?
it's
No,
Dead
no,
by
no, no.
Deadlight.
Before that, before that,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it was called. What was it called
Yeah, yeah,
again?
yeah. I think it was a THQ game. It came out, and then after a while, they had to shut the game down because it didn't actually live up to the expectation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think,
I forgot the name.
was it called something like Extraordinary or something? I'm pretty sure it started with an E.
I know which game you mean. It's just that I don't know the name anymore.
I don't know either. That says a lot.
Good lasting impression.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's good. Who knows, man? I mean, Friday the 13th looks like crap, but I played it and I had a ton of fun killing the the cat. It's so weird. I don't know, man. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Maybelline. I guess the only thing we can do is wait and see when that game comes out.
Yeah,
Um. So, are we going to leave that the big thing for last,
I
or are
think
we
it's
gonna
best to
talk
do.
about it
We can end on that one.
now? Okay. Do you have any other things then?
PUBG is getting crossplay for between PlayStation and
Ah.
Xbox. Going to happen in the fourth season, and that starts on August 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so the new one, is getting ray tracing on PC. And they're doing an
Mm-hmm.
alpha this weekend, so starting on Friday, the 23rd of August till Sunday. they're doing an alpha in which you can, for free, play the gunfight mode. It's, I believe it's called. It's a 2v2 mode. You don't need PlayStation Plus. You don't have to pre-order the game. Whatever. You can just download it from the PlayStation Store, and you can play it for those 3 days.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really excited. I'm gonna try to play it, and then I'll be able to record something and then post it on our soon to release surprise thingy what we're doing.
All right.
I'm gonna try to do that, and then Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is coming out this year. I'm really excited for that one. They showed some PvP, so multiplayer footage around it, how that's gonna play out. It looked really nice.
Okay.
And that's it. Besides the last thing we're gonna talk about.
Um, no, actually, I was just looking some stuff up, and I found this neat little snippet from an interview about The Witcher 3,
Oh,
um, wherein they said that, wow, okay, so they spent about 12 months working on the port, which is amazing, and they actually cut down loading times compared to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 version.
oh, that's nice. That doesn't happen often.
No, that certainly does not. And it fits on a 32 gig card, so that's actually amazing.
Ooh,
'Cause I'm pretty sure that game was freaking huge.
yeah. If you, I don't know if the game is coming
And
out
this
with
is
all the
and this is and
expansions.
this is everything. This is
Oh, with the
everything
expansions.
with all the expansions and all
Wow,
the updates that it got.
that's nice.
That is insane.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
actually jealous now because I would love to take with The Witcher on the go. Wow. Alright.
Yeah.
I thought I forgot to mention a new game that got announced. It's called Disintegration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
from
good
the
one. Yeah.
maker is one of the guys behind. He was the creative director at Bungie and one of the co-creators of the Halo franchise.
Hmm.
Um, I saw the trailer really quickly. I don't have a real good impression of what it is. I know you were really excited about it, so maybe you can tell people more about it.
Yeah, it so it's this I mean hang on, let me just bring it up again because it there's a lot going on in that game and it looks really interesting because it's this heavy sci-fi first person shootery thing, but you're all in these, I think, like weird cycles.
It looked
I
like
don't know.
one of those
It looks like
Gundam-like mech thingies.
yeah, I mean it looks like it was pulled straight out of an anime. I wouldn't say if it's necessarily Gundam, but it was pulled out of an anime and it just looks so weird and interesting. Uh, I'm not the biggest first person kind of guy, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind checking it out when it comes out
Yeah,
though.
same here.
Yeah, I mean, it's they are saying, of course, being who they are, it has a huge multiplayer component to it because, of course, it does. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks really cool. I mean, you're driving around this robotic thing and all mechy and stuff and shooting at people. Looks like fun. Yeah. Oh, and I finally came on the freaking name of the developers that are porting The Witcher 3, Saber Interactive.
Weren't those the guys that made that time game, Time Shift or something like that years ago?
Yep. Yep,
Oh,
that's the same one.
that's funny.
Yep. Also, they did port a couple of games to Switch already. I think they did Final Fantasy 12 or 10, 10 2. Um, but yeah, so they are no strangers to the Switch um environment in terms of development process.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have anything left before we move on to the last part?
No, other than Astral Chain is coming out at the end of this month, so they have a bunch of new
Woo!
content for that as well, and people are really excited about it. It gets me more excited.
Good
Hmm.
that you're excited.
Yeah, I mean, the game looks awesome. The gameplay looks just grade A platinum games. So yeah, it looks like they brought their A game to it, and that makes me excited.
Nice. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, then we move on to the last, but unfortunately disappointing part.
Ooh,
We've
oh boy.
mentioned this in a previous episode, but we've got confirmation on it.
Yeah.
There was a Stadia Connect on Monday
Mm-hmm.
in which they tried to make it all about the games, 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 and even more games.
Yep.
And when they opened the show, they did a brief summary of what Stadia is, kind of a feature and a benefit thing of Stadia, saying, hey, you can instantly play the game. There's no patch, there's no installer, there's no update or whatnot. You can just click and play whatever you are. And then they said, Stadia is coming out this year in November. If you want to use it or be able to experience it, you can do it by
Mm-hmm.
buying the Founders Edition.
And only the Founders Edition.
And only the Founders Edition. So that means that basically in the Netherlands, for example, it's 129 euros, and you get a
Mm-hmm.
controller, a Chromecast Ultra, 3 months of Stadia Pro, a
A
Buddy
Buddy
Pass,
Pass,
and you get to pick your
access to all the Destiny 2 content,
Destiny 2, indeed, and an option, the opportunity to pick your online nickname, which is really important. Not.
apparently,
Um, that's all going to cost you 129 euros. So
or $129.
429. So basically, you're a glorified beta tester for Stadia.
The most gilded of beta testers, by the way, because like I don't think I've ever like next to Ground Zeroes for Metal Gear Solid 5, and even that was more of a glorified paid demo than
Yeah,
this. And even then, you still don't have access to the games.
yeah. So you're basically renting a really expensive 4K game server for
And then
129
you have to
euros.
buy the
Yeah,
games so
because
that you can play them.
initially my idea was, okay, the thing is going to come out in November. I'll get a month of Stadia Pro. I'll try it out, share my opinion. I think you'll try it out. You wanted to try it out as well, so we
Yeah,
wanted to do an
sure.
episode around Stadia, and maybe even things like a comparison episode between Stadia and GeForce Now, which is Nvidia's equivalent of this. And the funny
But
thing
better.
is you can try to enter that beta program for GeForce Now, and all you have to do is log in with your existing Steam library. And if the game that you have in your Steam library is supported by GeForce Now, you can play that game. And seeing as it's in beta right now, it's all free. So that already sounds better instead of renting a 4K game server and then still having to pay the game. Meaning, I pay $10 a month for the service in case of Stadia, and I pay 60 or 70
Hmm.
bucks for the game. So I'm paying more to play the game in higher fidelity, and I still have things like an internet connection that comes into play. If I'm in a country that has a data cap, that comes into play.
And if you don't have an internet connection, you can't play at
You can't
all
play at
because
all.
there's no offline option.
Yeah, so it's the annoying part is, and I don't want Stadia to be this constant subject we get to rant about or to be negative about or to constantly mention it. But I was genuinely excited when it got announced. You were the skeptical guy, I was the excited guy. And the closer we're getting to launch, the more
The more skeptical
disinterested,
you're becoming.
yeah, skeptical, disappointed I'm becoming in this service, because this was supposed to be my Battlefield on the go,
Yeah.
and now it's just. uh,
Yeah. Well, I was skeptical from the beginning. They almost got me with their second Stadia Connect. Almost.
yeah,
But then I stayed the course. I stayed the
you're
course
so
and
strong. You grew
yeah,
larger
so
for
strong.
China. You know what's the bummer?
uh,
Because I know I have a really strong feeling how this is going to end up. People are going
yeah.
to enroll in that Founders Edition. They're going to get that. And then in
Mm.
November, December, the people that have that Founders Edition are going to beta test it, basically. And then either
Yeah.
in January or in February, Google is going to say, well, you know what, people, we're gonna open it up to everybody. So if you want Stadia Pro, it's gonna cost you $10 a month. Meaning that if I had ordered the Founders Edition, I basically paid for early access, and I could have waited 2 or 3 months, and I would have just paid the $10. So
Yeah,
what you're doing as a founder, you're basically pre-financing Stadia.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the Google is never going to keep this model going for 6 months or a year, because then people will
Well,
never buy
here's
that stuff.
here's the funny part because they said that certain regions were already sold out of the Founders Edition,
Yeah,
meaning that it's a limited run.
yeah.
Why?
Well, I think those people didn't know that the only way to get into Stadia was to get the Founders Edition.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but it's just it's this seriously, man. Every time that we talk about this subject, I just get more sad.
Yeah. I mean, they showed some games around it, which got me excited. For example, Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to Stadia, which is really cool because that is one of those games that, yes, I could play it on my PC, but I know already that either I have to buy a new graphics card by then, because that's one of those games I want to be able to play on the most intense graphical setting there is, because I just want to experience that game the best way you can. And I know with the high end PC I bought now, it's probably not powerful enough to run it. So I either have to upgrade my graphics card or I can get Stadia. But if they keep on pulling these things, I don't want to get Stadia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ubisoft is bringing a whole host of games such as Watch Dogs Legion and The
Well, of
Division.
course they are. Ubisoft likes to spread around their games as
You
far and
know,
wide as
it's
possible.
funny that from all the publishers, Ubisoft and maybe Bethesda, but generally more Ubisoft is like the only publisher that's actively come out and endorsed it or been like really positive around it. I mean, for example, EA, there's this list of to be decided or to be announced games of publishers that are going to participate in Stadia. And EA is one of those publishers that is still to be decided or to be announced. Whereas you would expect a company like EA to jump in on this immediately, saying we're bringing Origin to Stadia, and you can just
No,
play all those games.
they're probably still negotiating the deal with Origin because Ubisoft kind of beat them to the punch because Ubisoft's subscription service is coming to Stadia
Yeah,
too.
you play Plus. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's so weird, man. It's so weird. I mean, they came out with this at GDC and it sounded like this amazing service, and then at E3 they changed the messaging, and now they've changed the messaging again. I mean, even Microsoft knew how to pivot from the Don Metric debacle with always on and no secondhand games to where they are now. But it's like this.
Their saving grace has been Phil Spencer and the games what are games for gold or whatever they call it.
Yeah, games for gold, but they've
Yeah.
done a lot. Did a lot of stuff. They came back really good from that Don Metric debacle. And
Hmm.
you look at how Stadia is going right now. I'm like, okay, I'm afraid a lot of people are gonna buy that Founders Edition. They're gonna play it a month, and after a month, they're gonna, oh, what, a month, a week after a week, they'll be like, oh shit, I can't believe I spent 109 euros or dollars on it. Ah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'll keep an eye out on people that you know outlets that have obviously gotten it and they're gonna try it out and see. And honestly, I'm curious to see how it reviews. But yeah, my initial instinct was right, and I hate to say that it was right because tech wise,
It,
tech
yeah,
wise, this looks like a really interesting aspect.
yeah.
It's just instead of being a Netflix, they ended up being something else. I honestly don't know what to compare it
Yeah,
to
they
right now
call it
because there's no
CSS
comparison.
as PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, but
No,
I don't think
no,
that's a fair
no.
comparison.
That is not a good
No,
comparison at all.
no,
Not even a little.
no.
Because those are online services that allow you to play online on their platform.
Yeah,
That is not the same thing.
yeah. And they give me, if I have PlayStation Plus, I get free games every month, which are
Exactly.
sometimes really good games, such as Detroit Become Human.
Yeah. Although it's kind of a ripoff considering that they reduce the amount of games that you're getting now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna turn around and say like, okay, we're gonna add an extra game now somewhere down the line, but I they better because the two games is because you know what Sony likes to do for whatever reason with PlayStation Plus games is that when you select them and you add them to the cart, they add them with the amount and the discount,
Hmm.
so it shows you how much you're saving every month in terms of games.
Yeah.
And it used to be somewhere between 170 170 150 euros a month to 70 or 80.
Yeah.
So if they want to brag in that way to you, the consumer, that this is how much you're saving every month and it's gone down, it kind of feels disingenuous to be still paying the same amount. Either give me more games or make it cheaper.
Yeah.
You can't have both.
It's a matter of perspective because, to be honest, I have PlayStation Plus because I needed to play online, and I'm totally
Yeah.
fine by paying to play online. And I see PlayStation Plus as in the games I get as a nice to have or an extra benefit. But if Sony were
Mm,
to rip that part out, I wouldn't be bummed because I still buy PlayStation Plus to play online.
I would.
Yeah, I think it differs per person.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you gotta get used to the fact that they're giving you free games. So, you know.
Mhm.
Oh well. So,
I think that's it, right?
yeah, that's it, man. Otherwise, I'm just gonna start crying here.
All right.
Seriously, the future of gaming is a mystery.
Hey, I'm so
But
happy that we're getting new consoles.
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll only time will tell, man. Holiday 2020, it's gonna be a big one.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah. So that's it from us this week on this bonus round of Game Rivals. I have been your host, Maximilian X,
I've been your other host, John Templar.
and we'll see you guys on another regular episode next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.